Hi, Dr. Kelly Miller, Saving Your Brain. I want to talk to you about mold mycotoxins. I'm pounding the table on this, that this is a missing link in your brain health or in your brain challenges. This is the skinny on this. 1 in 4 people have a genetic predisposition that they have something called a haplogene. And if you have this gene, I have this gene, when you get exposed to mold mycotoxins, you don't mount a good immune response. I had a mold mycotoxins infection probably for years and did not know it. That's the reason I wrote a book called Saving Your Brain, Causes, Prevention, and Reversal of Dementia and Alzheimer's, because I was having problem with my brain. I thought it was because I'd had multiple concussions, which could have played to that, and other lifestyle things. But when I found out that I had the mold mycotoxins and that started to be addressed, that was a game changer. And what we find so far, I mean, I've only seen hundreds of patients, of nonverbal autistic patients, but 100% of them had mold mycotoxins. So if you have an autistic child that is nonverbal, you are almost certainly are dealing with a mold mycotoxins issue. I would say 85–90% of my dementia Alzheimer's patients have also had mycotoxins. So this haplogene is also predisposes people to the chronic Lyme. So I've actually have lots of patients that have Lyme and they have the mold. So we could get the Lyme exposure, and if we had a robust immune system and we didn't have a haplogene, we might get a little sick, might get a little fever, might get a little rash, and then we got over it. But there's many people that don't get over it, and they have this chronic problem. So this is something that we can help. There is a specific bioidentical sequential amino acid that breaks through the cell membrane of the mold. Not only mold, also any bacteria, any virus. That means people, if you have MRSA or if you have any kind of chronic viral load, this amino acid will help strip that so that your normal T cells can get through and attack it and get rid of it out of your body. And again, we have multiple different amino acids for different parts of the immune system. So this is a big deal. Please listen to me. Please check it. I'm going to give you some instances just in the last few days of this, but if you suspect you have that, go to www.survivingmold.com and take the visual contrast test. This is a test that's been around from 40 years. It has a 91% correlation to lab testing. There's no false positives. However, you have a 9% likelihood that you could pass this and still have the mold mycotoxin, but it's an inexpensive, it costs $15, a very inexpensive screening test. And more importantly, as you start, if you're positive on this and you have the mold, and if we have a history and other things, we'll also do the mycotoxin test. When we do QEEG brain mapping on people, what we see is we see huge areas of high delta in the brain, particularly in the frontal cortex. And this is a sign of inflammation. This is slow brainwave activity. This is the kind of brainwave activity we have when we're in our first 2 years of life. And it's like you're trying to drive your car around with the parking brake on. That's what's happening with your brain. The inflammation causes problems in your frontal cortex, which is the executive functioning. This inhibition to the frontal cortex causes it not to inhibit the primitive reflexes. So all these people, one of the things we find in a commonality for every academic, behavioral, psychological, mental health problem is these people have primitive reflexes, okay? So if your frontal cortex is not working, it's not inhibiting those, and these primitive reflexes are related. So what do we find in kids or children or other people that have chronic mold is they have these peculiar neural behaviors that can't change because of the inflammation in their brain. So please take this test. If you test positive, call us and we'll show you how you can eradicate this. Let's talk a little bit about where we get mold. We can get it in some foods, but most of these infections that get into the brain are through inhalation. And there's two ways you get this. One is if your HVA system doesn't keep your humidity below 60%, you're going to grow mold in the HVA system itself, okay? In the ductwork. You need to check where the vents are, see if there's little specks out there. You need to get it opened up and look in there. But most of that happens because we keep our thermostat too high. You can't keep your thermostat on 75 or 76 degrees and keep mold from growing. It's got to be down there. It's got to be at 72 or less. So that's a big reason. The other reason is we get a leak through our roof or in the pipes in our bathroom or the sink or something, and the drywall gets wet, okay? And we might put a fan on it, and this side looks okay, but we don't know anything about the other side. And what the other side is, it's growing mold. So if you don't cut that out, within 14 days, you're producing mycotoxins. And I've got multiple pictures of people that I've tested. I said, you've got mold, you've got mold. They had finally investigated and they had it everywhere, massive amounts. I just was talking to a mom in Oregon who we're doing telemedicine with, and she has a 2-year-old. And the 2-year-old has been sleeping in the bed with her, and her daughter, older daughter, has chronic asthma. And she saw a video out there about Sleep Number beds having mold under the mattress in the different layers. And she checked it out, and sure enough, she had it. And it because when they had the mold people come to her house, they kept finding high levels of aspergillus and another mold in the bedroom, but they couldn't find it. Well, when they took the bed apart, they found it, and they swabbed it, and it was the exact same mold that was in the air. It's the exact same mold that's in the 2-year-old. So these things, again, they are keeping your child from normal neurodevelopment. And if you have a neurodevelopmentally challenged kid, it's a big deal, particularly an autistic child or a hyperactive ADHD child. So one of the things that I just had also, and again, we have a specific amino acid. I have someone I've known for years. She's probably 75 years old. She's had a chronic mold infection in her lungs. She has been to 2 different specialists. She has one in Tampa. She has one in Colorado. She goes sees twice a year. She has tried every medication, every experimental medication. She's done infusions, and some of the side effects have been horrific for her, and so she decided she quit. She just wasn't going to do any medication. She just couldn't take it anymore. So had really given up. We started her on 3 amino acids. One's called ultra lung infection. One was for the mold virus MRSA, and one was glutathione because we wanted to detoxify. And in 2 weeks, she's had a 50% increase in her lung volume as measured by a spirometer. That's something we blow into and it measures the volume in there. 50%. It's amazing. She was down to 500 milliliters. So an average, and her age is probably 2.5. So she was at 20% of getting the oxygen in. She was on the way out. So now she's up to 750. That's in 2 weeks. So I'll keep you posted on that. But again, people with this is a wake-up call if you are having any kind of chronic pulmonary problem, breathing problem on oxygen, that this could be a solution for you.